And the primary role that I'm going to play is really keep my eye on that chat box and the Q&A box. So you're going to be hearing a lot more information about why you should join Phi Theta Kappa from Aariel, and then you'll get that firsthand member experience from Tatiana. So I'm particularly interested in hearing what Tatiana has to say throughout the presentation, as well as all of your questions. So thanks for spending some time with us, and I'll let Tatiana tell you a little bit about herself.
Thank you, ladies. Hello, everyone. My name is Tatiana Bowling. I am from Florida. I came from the Chi Epsilon chapter from Valencia College. Currently, I go to University of Florida, go Gators, to studying chemical engineering. And I was part of Phi Theta Kappa for 3 years, and I started as a member and all the way to the president of my chapter. I'm glad that you guys are all here, and any questions that you guys have, just let us know. Back to you, girls.
Thank you so much, Tatiana. I'm so glad that you could join us and offer your perspective as a former chapter officer and chapter president, and now you're an alumna. So I'm really looking forward to hearing your insight, because it's really all about you and the members. We are here to answer your questions. Heather and I are full-time staff members at Phi Theta Kappa. So we want to answer questions and provide accurate information to you. But Tatiana is really the person who will provide that personal touch, because she's experienced being a chapter officer, being a member, and now she's an alumna. So we are excited to talk to you all. I want to emphasize also that this is meant to be interactive. So although we cannot see or hear you, we really, really, really want to encourage you to ask questions and post those questions in the Q&A box. And we'll either answer you via text by typing a response to you, or we'll answer live. We are recording this, so make sure that you check out ptk.org/webinars in the next 48 hours, and you'll be able to watch a recording of this webinar there if you have to leave early, or if you want to refer back to it. Also, I just want to point out, if you ask a question that we maybe don't have a chance to get to, we do have a transcript that comes to us, and we'll be able to follow up with anyone who asks a question that we haven't had a chance to answer during the live webinar today. But I definitely want to just welcome everybody. I appreciate everyone for joining. I see we have 41 participants with us tonight, and so we will go ahead and get started. I do have a PowerPoint that I'm going to share with you all. So let me share my screen. Okay, can you all, and by you all, I mean Heather and Tatiana, give me a thumbs up if you can see my PowerPoint screen right now? Okay, great. So let's talk a little bit about Phi Theta Kappa. So the mission of Phi Theta Kappa is 100 years old. We were founded in 1918, and we are about to celebrate our centennial celebration in 2018, so we are really excited. And our mission has essentially remained the same for nearly a century. And our mission at Phi Theta Kappa is to recognize the academic achievement of college students and to provide opportunities for them to grow as scholars and leaders. So not only do we want to recognize college students, you all, for your academic achievements, for your hard work, we want to give you opportunities to grow professionally and personally in the leadership and scholarship arenas. So we're really proud that our mission has essentially remained intact for all of this time. Okay, you may be wondering, who is Phi Theta Kappa? What does the average or typical Phi Theta Kappa member look like? Well, in the beginning of the PowerPoint, and on the screen here, you'll see hashtag #IamPTK. I just want to point that out because this is our latest marketing campaign that we are using on social media and in our promotional materials. And IamPTK really refers to the fact that everyone is PTK. We are such a diverse group of members and alumni. We have more than 3 million members and alumni internationally, and we have so many different types of students who represent Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. And the picture on the screen you see here represents just a quick snapshot of what a Phi Theta Kappan looks like. So you'll see here 68%. So 68% of Phi Theta Kappans complete a bachelor's degree or higher. And this is important because when you compare it to the national average is less than 68%, significantly. It's at about 40%. So this stat just shows that Phi Theta Kappans are high achievers, they are hard workers, and they are scholars. In that same vein, the average GPA of a Phi Theta Kappa member is a 3.6 GPA. Another stat I want to point your attention to is the 91% on your screen. So you'll see that 91% of Phi Theta Kappans either complete or transfer. And when I say complete or transfer, that means that 91% of our members will transfer to a four-year institution, or they'll complete their degree at their current community college or technical college. And then at the very bottom of the screen, you'll see a variety of majors. One of the questions that I know I sometimes get and other staff members get is Phi Theta Kappa limited to a certain major? And I just want to clear that up and say that Phi Theta Kappa is open to all majors. You don't have to be one particular major to be a member of Phi Theta Kappa. So you'll see that our top majors run from business, political science, nursing, science and technology, liberal arts, English, and psychology. So we pretty much have a range of majors that we represent as Phi Theta Kappa. And then the last statistic on the screen, you'll see 73% of Phi Theta Kappans use collegefish.org to connect with transfer recruiters. I will talk a little bit more about CollegeFish later on in the presentation, but just very quickly, collegefish.org is one of our resources that we provide to members as a transfer tool. So you can go onto collegefish.org and use it as a tool to help you set up your transfer to a four-year university. You'll be able to match yourself with the appropriate senior institutions that may offer Phi Theta Kappa scholarships to you at that institution.
I wanted to add a little bit of that, of the CollegeFish. CollegeFish is something that at Valencia College West Campus we touch a lot on. When I started at Valencia College, I'm a student that came from Puerto Rico, and English it's my second language, and I did not know anybody, and I still didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And CollegeFish was a great tool because some of us still don't know where we want to go to college after we graduate from the two-year colleges, and we don't know what university we want to. So that would literally narrow it down, and I still receive emails from them, and they help you get in track. And it's another tool that Phi Theta Kappa is given only to Phi Theta Kappa students, so that's a good advantage to have.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Tatiana. It's helpful when you actually have gone through the process and you can kind of say, look, this is a real thing. You actually do put in your information, and it's very helpful in the process when transferring. Okay. I'll move on and talk a little bit about where Phi Theta Kappa is located. So you'll see on your screen a map of the United States and also some international portions right above the US pictured here. So Phi Theta Kappa is an international honor society. We are located in 50 states and we're in 9 nations. We have about 1,300 different chapters that are spread out across the US and internationally. So you'll see that on the screen, you'll see that Phi Theta Kappa is separated into 4 different divisions. Division 1, you'll see, is sort of the northeast quarter of the US. Division 2 is pretty much the southern portion of the US. I see Tatiana like, yeah, Division 2, Florida. Division 3 is sort of central US, Midwest, and then Division 4 is pretty much the West Coast of the US. So if you are a prospective member tuning in with us, take a moment and identify where your division would be and kind of get a lay of the land and figure out what other states you could talk to members from and get a better understanding of where you are geographically in the Phi Theta Kappa world. I do want to point out that for every division, we have a full-time staff member devoted to that division. So for the advisors in your division, those advisors and members can contact the divisional specialist for that division. And we can share that information of all the divisional specialists in the chat box with you all, because those people are true resources for you about Phi Theta Kappa. All of us here are, but those divisional specialists really are the experts about every chapter and region in the division. One other sort of categorical thing I want to point out really quickly is that Phi Theta Kappa is also broken up into different divisions, or excuse me, regions. And so Phi Theta Kappa has 29 different regions. And so as a member and as an alum, you'll be able to attend local events at your campus and then also regional events where you can network with other Phi Theta Kappa members from neighboring states, which is kind of cool. Okay, this slide is probably what a lot of you may be asking about already. Am I eligible? How do I become a member of Phi Theta Kappa? And so I do want to go over some of the eligibility criteria necessary to become a Phi Theta Kappa member. So the first thing I'll point out is actually the last bullet point on this screen, but I want to point it out because it's important. So membership in Phi Theta Kappa is by invitation only. So if you have received an email invitation or a hard copy mail invitation inviting you to accept membership in Phi Theta Kappa from your local chapter, that means that you are eligible and you do meet the criteria of your local chapter. And so because you've gotten that invitation, please know that you do meet the eligibility criteria of your chapter. Okay.
Can I add something to that bullet point?
Absolutely.
A lot of the things, a lot of questions that I received in orientation when we did it in our school is that, so now that I'm here, how can I get accepted? When you receive that email, it's actually, you're getting invited. So it's kind of like you accepting us once you join Phi Theta Kappa. Another thing too, if you still haven't received an email, but you feel like you do have the other requirements, the other eligibility, maybe go to the advisor that is in charge of that chapter in that school. Maybe they can see if they have eligibility. Some schools are very big and some students don't get the email that they should still be part of Phi Theta Kappa. So if you feel like you haven't received an email, but you do have the other bullet points that I'm pretty sure she will speak later on, just go around the advisor and make sure that you have it, because you don't want to miss out on joining Phi Theta Kappa.
Definitely. I will cover the other bullet points, and then Tatiana, I'll circle back to you so that you can perhaps share your story of when you were invited to accept membership in Phi Theta Kappa and what that was like for you. Before I do that, I do want to just point out some of the other general criteria that's necessary to become a Phi Theta Kappa member. So the first bullet point says, are you enrolled in an accredited institution offering an associate degree program? And so to be eligible for Phi Theta Kappa, we have to, our members are attending community colleges or technical colleges that have a local chapter of Phi Theta Kappa on that campus and is an accredited institution. So that's the first thing. The second item on the screen you'll see here is, have you completed at least 12 hours of coursework that may be applied to an associate degree? The next thing, and I'll talk about both of these in a second, is do you have at least a 3.5 GPA? So the 12 hours of coursework, of college level coursework, and the 3.5 GPA are our general eligibility criteria. You'll see a little asterisk and that says, or as determined by your chapter, because really each chapter sets its own eligibility criteria. And so we recommend a 3.5 GPA as the eligibility criteria of Phi Theta Kappa membership, but each local chapter sets its own GPA requirement. So it may be a 3.75 at some schools, and it may be a 3.95 at other schools. So that varies by chapter. But in general, we like to say a 3.5 GPA, 12 hours of college level coursework, and you are currently enrolled in an institution offering an associate degree program that actually has a local Phi Theta Kappa chapter on that campus. And Tatiana, I'd love for you to share a little bit of your story about what happened when you were invited to accept membership, what thoughts were going through your mind, and tell us a little bit about the story if you don't mind.
Alrighty, this is one of my favorite stories to say. So I was, like I said in the past, I was in Valencia College, and I was studying chemical engineering. Some of the students here in Phi Theta Kappa know kind of my story because I am very open about it. But when I graduated high school, I was not thinking the school was the most important thing. I thought more of social life. I was a captain of the cheerleading squad. So my goals were not straight. So when I go to Valencia and I moved to Florida, I'm like, actually, this time I'm going to put effort to having good grades, and I'm going to do something for my future. So I'm here at the computer lab. I was in the math center, which is called in Valencia, studying. And I received this email from the person that was back then saying that I was invited to Phi Theta Kappa. And I know Greek letters. What do I think with Greek letters? Sororities or fraternities? So I'm like, I don't know if I want to be a sorority girl, but let me just figure it out. So I asked the tutor in the lab. I'm like, hey, you guys know what Phi Theta Kappa is? And they're like, yeah, they're an honor society. I'm like, what? I'm going to go to this office right now, ask any questions that I can. I want to join this. At the beginning, I was kind of joining just to put in my resume and like thinking that, it will help me like get better like into schools when I applied. After that, now I know that those were the best $85 that I ever spent in membership because it changed my life completely. But that feeling that I had that day, it was like, wow, I'm being recognized for good grades. Like that hard work is getting paid off. And it's things that feeling like, it's a good feeling to receive from other people. Not only like you're like, oh yeah, I got 100 in this test, yay me. But like other people are recognizing you and they want you to be part of their family because Phi Theta Kappa is a family. So it felt very good, and I was very, very excited. And fun fact is I couldn't join that moment because the orientation hasn't passed, but the same day of orientation, I signed the application, I paid the money, and I put it in the office. So that's how excited I was.
That is awesome. That's a great story. And you said something that made me think. So many people will ask about whether we're a fraternity or a sorority because of the Greek letters. And I just like to clear it up and say we are an honor society and we are not a fraternity or a sorority. We're an honor society. We're 100 years old. And I encourage you to reach out to any of us at headquarters, Heather or me, and we'll all share our contact information in the chat box so you have our emails. But reach out and ask people, have you heard of Phi Theta Kappa? Can you tell me more about Phi Theta Kappa? Talk to some of the members or the officers on your campus and get a better sense of it before you jump to conclusions and think that you know that Phi Theta Kappa is a fraternity, because we're not a fraternity. We're an honor society. And Tatiana made another good point about at first you said you joined because you wanted to add it to your resume as a resume builder. And then you sort of realized that it was way more than just adding it to your resume. But I do want to make the point that some people do join and they add it to their resume, and such a standout item on your resume because it says that you are the top students at your community college or your technical college. And employers and potential employers will look at that and know that you're a hardworking, dedicated individual. So that's important. But once we talk about some of these other membership benefits and how involved and engaged you can get as a Phi Theta Kappa, you'll see and hopefully want to do way more than just put it on your resume. You'll want to get as involved as you possibly can. So thank you for sharing that, Tatiana. I appreciate that because I think a lot of people probably have similar stories and maybe they had never heard of it, but they don't take the time to really ask other people, hey, what do you know about Phi Theta Kappa? And that's really important.
I wanted to add a little bit to that. Another fun story is that I went to Disney with a Phi Theta Kappa shirt on, and the person that was on the fast lane said like, wait, you're a Phi Theta Kappa? I am too. And they like let me pass by the fast lane just because I was a Phi Theta Kappa. Another of my, she was my vice president in Valencia College. She went to a job interview and she put the resume building from the beginning. I mean, she gave her the resume and the person's like, wait, you're in Phi Theta Kappa? I was in Phi Theta Kappa. And she gave her the job. And one of the things that she now learns after she already has a job is that one of the reasons why she got the job is because she was in Phi Theta Kappa. And then the person that was interviewing her knows what Phi Theta Kappa stands for and knows that we achieve to just be to have that different edge, which we're later on going to talk about competitive edge. But it just, Phi Theta Kappa has that big edge that makes it different from other people.
Yeah, that is so true. I can't tell you how many times I have gone somewhere and somebody has recognized the shirt that I have on or something, and it's so random. I never expect it, but it always seems to happen. And it just goes back to my point that our network of Phi Theta Kappans is so large. We have about 3.2 million members and alum currently. And so Phi Theta Kappans are everywhere. We're in all 50 states, like I said, and in 9 nations. And so I'm sure that you'll run into someone or meet someone who knows about Phi Theta Kappa or maybe was even a member when they were in community or technical college. So that's pretty cool when you get to know somebody and you realize that you have that commonality. So you kind of have some common ground and you can relate to other people because they know about Phi Theta Kappa too. I'll go ahead and move on to the next slide. And please, if either of you, Heather or Tatiana, see any questions that come through that you want to address, please stop me and we can talk about the questions. But I do want to get through some of this other information on the screen because the items on this screen are a lot of what we hear at headquarters all the time about why someone can't or doesn't want to accept membership in Phi Theta Kappa. These are some of the common reasons for not accepting membership. And I'll talk a little bit about them and then I'll ask Tatiana to share a little bit of her perspective. If you've had any interaction with prospective members while you served as the chapter president at your local chapter, who you had to talk through and maybe heard any stories about not being able to afford the membership fee or not thinking that Phi Theta Kappa would be beneficial for them. It's important to talk about these things. So the first, probably the number one, there's a couple of them that stand out, but this first bullet point, I have little or no time, is something that we hear constantly. And so I just want to make it super clear that there's no requirement that you be involved in the activities of Phi Theta Kappa. You can honestly pay the membership fee and become a Phi Theta Kappa member and not do anything. Now that wouldn't be maximizing the membership benefits of Phi Theta Kappa, which is what you should want to do because it's such a great investment. But there's no requirement or mandate that you have to attend meetings or you have to attend workshops or service projects. Of course, we would love for you to do those things because that's how you grow as a scholar and leader. But I just want to clear up any confusion that there's no requirement that you do those things. And there are benefits of just being a Phi Theta Kappa member that we'll talk about, namely scholarship opportunities and adding it to your resume that do not require any of those extra commitments in terms of service or engagement or programming. Another thing that we hear all the time at headquarters is, how is Phi Theta Kappa going to really benefit me? I'm about to transfer. I'm not going to be at the community college or the technical college for very much longer. What's the point in joining? There are so many membership benefits that extend beyond just a person's time at the 2-year level while you're in community college or the technical college. And so I know that, Tatiana, you're an alum. You're considered an alum right now. So can you talk to everyone about how Phi Theta Kappa membership has benefited you as an alum now, and then looking back while you were a member?
Okay, so definitely all those bullet points I have heard. Like every semester I heard the same things. One of the things, then the number one that I will speak about is I have no time or I have little time. My advisor always told us, and this is something that got stuck with me, is that you get out of it what you put into it. So some people, like I said, join just to put in the resume. Fun fact, my ex-boyfriend joined. I never saw him in a meeting. And he just put it on the resume, and that's fine too. Other people like me just want to go all the way down and go to international level and graduate from college and still be in the webinars and still go headquarters and visit everyone and chat, and that's fine too. So I understand that some people have no time. When I was president in my chapter, I had 2 jobs. I helped in the house. I was studying chemical engineering full time, and I still made time for it just because it was my passion. I literally ate, slept, and breathed PTK. But understandable, some people don't have it. Like she was saying, having no time, there's other ways of PTK doing it. You can do stuff in the internet. You can apply to scholarships. That's a way that how, like one of the bullets that says, how can I PTK help me once they're almost about to graduate? Is that applying to scholarships. There's a lot of transfer scholarships that we probably will talk about later on. There's $90 million in scholarship that people can apply. There's also competitive edge. I believe that even as alumni, you can still be part of that. And that's a different way that it literally showed me even how to eat a proper dinner. And once you become a professional, you want to be having a dinner with your boss, and you want to seem professional and seeing the right way to act. So little things like this can still be helpful in PTK. That I've never heard of PTK. To be honest, when I heard that, it was just more me when I was tabling events and I was trying to provide them. So as a chapter, it was like my responsibility to give them information, to show them what PTK was stand for. And then I cannot afford it. I believe right now PTK is doing something that is like a scholarship for the people that don't have the money. And in my chapter, we actually had one student that he was very active. He went to orientation. We gave like a month for people to be able to pay for it. Some people have to wait for like the financial aid coming in, or maybe they have to work a little more extra hours to put the money. But we had this student, and I'm not saying that every chapter does this, but he was very active. He went to every meeting. Every time we needed to do volunteer events, he came into, but he didn't have the money to afford it. And our advisor took, and we spoke as a chapter meeting, and we gave him a scholarship, and we paid for his application fee. Why? Because why wouldn't we change somebody's life? We know how impacted is Phi Theta Kappa. My advisor, he was a dropout of college, and now he has a PhD. And he always said that if it wasn't for Phi Theta Kappa, he would have not done all that process. So every time that I feel like I could put a little drop in everybody's bucket to make it better, we always do it. So these are common reasons to people that are not accepting membership. Completely honest, there's no reason why not to accept membership. There's always a solution for every problem. And Phi Theta Kappa is just going to open more doors for you and like help you in a better way. When I was sad, Phi Theta Kappa was there to make me happy. So when I was lonely, I was having companionship. When I was feeling down, they always brought me up. So I could not say nothing about a Phi Theta Kappa. So I really believe that there's no reason why not accepting membership. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I wrote down so much. I'm trying to decide which point I want to bring up first because you made so many great points. First thing, you brought up competitive edge. And competitive edge is one of those membership benefits that just, it's the gift that keeps on giving almost, because you complete it, but you learn these professional development soft skills that will benefit you literally for life. So it's, you know, communication, it's professional etiquette, it's goal setting. It's something as, you know, overlooked, but really valuable, like Tatiana said about place settings and eating with your colleagues and your boss. And so learning those soft skills that will help you in future jobs and future employment through competitive edge is one of those membership benefits that will benefit you far beyond your time at the community college or the technical college. So I'm so glad that you, Tatiana, shared your experience with competitive edge, and it really benefited you as a professional and as a young professional especially. Another point on this screen is I cannot afford it. And Tatiana brought this up because this is also something that we hear all the time at Phi Theta Kappa headquarters. So Phi Theta Kappa does have a one-time, lifetime membership fee. And there are probably tons of questions about how much does it cost for me to be a member. So the membership fee actually varies by chapter. So every chapter has a different membership fee. There's a $60 international fee, but on top of that, there are local and regional fees that range from $5 to $20 or $30 or more. And so each chapter sets its own membership fee. You pay the fee one time. A lot of people will ask about that. Do you pay it yearly? Do you pay it repetitively? You don't. You pay it one time, and then you are a member for life, and you become an alum once you graduate from the 2-year school. And so Tatiana brought up one of the programs that Phi Theta Kappa headquarters has to help members and prospective members pay that membership fee, and that's called the Golden Opportunity Scholarship. And the Golden Opportunity Scholarship is a membership fee waiver, and the advisor at your chapter has to nominate you. And so the advisor will submit 3 nominations per chapter for students who are in financial need, who would benefit from getting this membership fee waiver. And then that $60 international fee is waived if you are selected as a Golden Opportunity Scholarship recipient. I also want to point out that you never know what sort of programs your chapter or your college has in place that may help you pay for membership. And so I think, Tatiana, you talked about scholarship, providing a scholarship to one of the students. And so whenever someone, a prospective member, calls me or calls one of my colleagues at headquarters, our first piece of advice is always, always, always to check with your local chapter advisor to see what may be in place at the chapter or the college. And I haven't said this, but your local chapter advisor is a faculty person or a staff person on your campus. And so there is a very handy dandy tool. It's a URL that we have, and it's called the Advisor Search. That's probably in the chat box already, but you can easily find and locate who your chapter advisor is by typing in the state you're in and the name of your college. You click on that and you'll see phone numbers, emails, and the name of your local chapter advisor. That person is really your best resource for all things Phi Theta Kappa. Your advisor will be able to tell you if the chapter or the college or a foundation on the college campus will be able to help you with membership fees, that advisor will be able to tell you how to be engaged, how to be an active Phi Theta Kappa member, how to help you apply for scholarships. So I can't encourage any prospective members enough to reach out to the local chapter advisor. And then I've never heard of PTK. We've gotten that one before, and those are similar to the ones that we hear about Phi Theta Kappa being a fraternity or a sorority. And we are just so proud of being 100 years old and being just one of the most prestigious honor societies that exist. And so I encourage you all to go to ptk.org to learn more information. I also encourage you to go to Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter and check us out and just see what Phi Theta Kappa is all about. We have a lot to offer, and we would love to answer questions and tell you all how Phi Theta Kappa membership can really benefit you. The last thing I wanted to mention, based on what Tatiana said, was she said, you said it was like a family. Like when you were sad or when you needed a pick-me-up, like you would go to your Phi Theta Kappa chapter. And in my experience working at Phi Theta Kappa, that's exactly the same way that I feel. Oftentimes in college, you know, it's such a transition to go from high school to college, and for the non-traditional students to go from working full-time or not being in school for a number of years and then going back to school. And so to have that support system in your local Phi Theta Kappa chapter, I think is so important, and it's such a community that you can rely on. So I have definitely gotten that sense as well. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Tatiana. Okay. So I do want to make sure that I cover a little bit of how Phi Theta Kappa is structured. So we have 3 levels. We have an international level, a regional level, and a local level. At the international level, we have our international officers, and those are the officers that are pictured here on your screen. And those are actually student members of Phi Theta Kappa. International office is the pinnacle position that a student can hold at Phi Theta Kappa. And so every year at our annual convention, we elect 5 international officers. And here, Amanda, who's pictured in the very middle, she is the president of Phi Theta Kappa. And then each division has a vice president. And so Don, Jay, and then to Amanda's right, there's Obi and Tasha. So these are our vice presidents. And I cannot say enough positive things about these folks. If you have not already followed them or friended them on social media, I highly encourage it. They are awesome resources, and we really look at them as colleagues at Phi Theta Kappa. Speaking of colleagues, also on the international level, we have our Phi Theta Kappa staff. So Heather and I are both full-time staff members who work at Phi Theta Kappa headquarters. And I'll do a quick side note because I didn't mention this first, but please, everyone, I'd love to hear if you know where Phi Theta Kappa headquarters is located, because we always get so many responses. We may have already covered this in the chat box, but I'd love to see where you think Phi Theta Kappa headquarters is based. Stay tuned for the answer if you don't already know it. So Phi Theta Kappa headquarters has almost 70 staff members who work and support your needs. And we also have a board of directors at the international level. The regional level consists of regional coordinators who are the people who are in charge of the 29 regions, and those are also advisors. So from among the pool of advisors, regional coordinators are selected and will head up that specific Phi Theta Kappa region. We also have regional officers and a regional advisory board. Regional officers are student members who want to experience a little bit more leadership and responsibility, and so they'll take on the additional role of being a regional officer. And then the local level, chapter officers, chapter advisors, members, and alum. The local level is just another way of saying your chapter at your campus. And so we have our advisors, who are the faculty and staff persons, and then we have chapter officers, members, and alum. And I know that, Tatiana, you were a chapter president. And so I'd love to hear more about your experience as a chapter president and how that experience benefited you.
Perfect. So I believe I touched a little bit of all of those levels. I did started as a member. I became the Senator of Finance, and I became the Vice President, and then I became the President, and now the alumni that still goes to orientation. But yes, I started with that. In the regional level, we were gonna run for our regional. I wanted to add, I don't know if everybody knows, every state has like the regional officers. Some states like Florida, they don't have a regional officer, they have a regional chapter. So like a chapter is considered the executive chapter, another one is a fellowship, the leadership, instead of one specific person. And some states have one specific person to go to that actually regional level. And then the international level, which is what they were saying, is the people that you see in the picture right there. So I did international level last year. I was the campaign manager for Andrew Porter, which was our president last year, international president. And like she was saying, I cannot express more words to encourage to run for any of these levels, not only international level, but even local level, even position, even just by being an active member. It's something that it will be changed for you as a level, and it will change as your life. International level, that was a great experience. You had to campaign. I met so many people. I will say that 75% of my Facebook is Phi Theta Kappa. I see all the pictures, profile pictures that says I am PTK, all the status that says PTK, hashtag PTK proud. And it cannot make me more happier to see how many of us we are. It's funny because she was saying that you talk to people in your division or in your region. I talk to people in every division, every region. I have friends from everywhere. One of the persons that I met when they were running for international president is from Hawaii, and she just got accepted to Harvard. And she received a recommendation letter from Phi Theta Kappa, and they gave her I think it's a full ride for Harvard. So it was very helpful. So I do have friends from everywhere, and I don't like to call them friends. I like to call them brothers and sisters. But yes, actually in any level that you are, it's amazing. As my experience as the president, not only it helped me learn better, more professional things. We did the projects. Phi Theta Kappa does two big projects. It's the Honors in Action project and the College project. And we were very active in these projects, so active that we became the 7th finalist from all the 1,300 chapters. We won a lot of trophies. We were very proud. So we got to go on stage, something that's called the convention that we have every year. This year is 100 years. So I can't wait for that weekend. I believe it's in April. I don't remember the exact dates, but later on probably we'll be talking about it. But yeah, as a president, it opened me so many doors, and not only helped me grow as a professional, but it helped me grow as a person too. It really just made me 100% a better person every day in every aspect. I learned research process. I learned better communication skills. I did networking, which is very important to get into schools and to get jobs. And as a president was just a word. For us, it was more as a team. Being a president wasn't making me more important than the person that was the vice president of leadership. It was all together. And being in that leadership position helped me grow also as a team. And that's why we were able to become the 7th most finalists on the convention, because it was of my team. We could have not done it alone. So like I said, I encourage you to go to any level, and just like I said before, you get out of it what you put into it. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Tatiana mentioned just now convention. So I want to make sure I plug this. We are turning 100 years old. So we are celebrating our centennial, and that will happen in April 2018, the 18th through the 21st of April in Kansas City, Missouri. So Phi Theta Kappa started out in 1918 at Stevens College in Missouri. And so to honor our 100th birthday, we are returning to Missouri, back to where we started. And so this is going to be hashtag Party of the Century. Literally, we use that hashtag, PTK Party of the Century. And it will be one of the biggest events we've ever had. We are hoping to get about 6,000 guests. Normally we have about 4,000. And so we're really trying to make this convention bigger and better than ever before, because we only turn 100 years old one time. So we're really trying to blow it out of the water, and we're all so excited about it. We have really, really great speakers lined up, and the energy and the excitement and just the overall vibe of convention is unparalleled. You'll be in rooms and in general sessions with Phi Theta Kappa members, with advisors. It's sort of a mix of fun and excitement and educational opportunities. We have ed forums on various topics. This year we're actually turning more of a focus on professional development. And so we'll be covering things like transfer readiness, workforce readiness, resume building, and things like that, that will really benefit all members of Phi Theta Kappa. So I cannot encourage you all to take advantage of attending our annual international convention enough, because the one coming up in April 2018 for our centennial celebration will be a once-in-a-lifetime event. I will be there. I hope you all will be there too. It'll be really, really, really exciting. I do want to touch a little bit on some of these other ways that are on the screen on how you can be more involved as a Phi Theta Kappa member. And so Tatiana, talked about her role as chapter president, and really just as part of a bigger team. I love that point you made about it was just a title, because that's so true. I mean, a lot of groups will come to headquarters and visit in Jackson, Mississippi, by the way. I hadn't said that before. A lot of local chapters and other chapters will come to headquarters, and their whole officer team will be there, and they're so proud of their title. But I always try to emphasize that it's really, really about the whole. It's about the unit and how you work together. And so hearing your point about just it being a title and you're really part of the team really resonated with me. But as a Phi Theta Kappa member, there are so many opportunities to be involved. So one of the first things that you may do as a newly inducted member will be to attend an induction ceremony. An induction ceremony looks different at every chapter or campus. Some chapters are really formal and they'll have a banquet or a sit-down dinner. Other chapters are a little bit more casual, and it'll be more informal, but family and friends are usually invited, and it's a great way to recognize and honor your achievement of being honored as a member of Phi Theta Kappa. Local chapters will have meetings throughout the academic term and workshops. And so these meetings and workshops will revolve around various topics. There'll be how to recruit more members. Some may be scholarship resume writing workshops, or just opportunities to actually do your scholarship application at the meeting. Or prepare for upcoming service events, or prepare some activities that you want to put forth on your campus. I know a lot of chapters who actually partner with other organizations on their campus and combine forces and put on events or activities together, which is a really cool thing. Fellowship and service events, awareness and recruiting, those are some of those events that I was just talking about, like increasing membership. Some chapters will actually have an officer position devoted to membership recruitment or membership. And really, everyone, as we like to say, is an ambassador for Phi Theta Kappa and a recruiter. In every interaction you have, you can sort of talk about the benefits of Phi Theta Kappa. In a larger sense, you can be the person who may be manning a table at your school's organizational fair, or organizing a bulletin board in the hallway of the student center. Or you can do it on a more personal level. If you know personally students at your campus who have been invited, you can talk about your membership acceptance process and how Phi Theta Kappa has benefited you. So it's really important to know that every one of us is a Phi Theta Kappa ambassador. And then some of the other ways you can be involved are completing Competitive Edge that we talked about earlier, and then your collegefish.org profile, which is that database that is online that will match you with your transfer school opportunities. It will match you based on the preferences you input into your profile to various senior colleges that you are interested in. And we will talk about scholarships on the next slide, but before I don't mention this, I definitely want to mention that Phi Theta Kappa partners with more than 750 four-year universities, and those four-year universities will administer scholarships specifically to Phi Theta Kappa members. And so that's really important if you're interested in transferring to a four-year school. It's really cool to be able to use College Fish and use your Phi Theta Kappa membership to maximize your scholarship opportunities, because we partner with so many universities that offer scholarships exclusively to PTK members. Okay, so some of the additional benefits of membership that we spoke about already. So scholarships. So scholarships is one of our biggest draws for accepting membership, because we have access, or we offer access to more than $90 million in scholarships. And that includes, like I was just talking about, $37 million in transfer scholarships from 750 four-year schools. And so the opportunity to apply for scholarships is tremendous. Our fall scholarship has recently ended, and we are excited to be able to gift students with this opportunity to pay for community college, pay for textbooks, and use the funds that we provide in a way that will benefit their education. We talked a little bit about the regional and international events. The PTK International Convention is what I was talking about, that centennial celebration. That's called PTK Catalyst, and that's the convention that's coming up in April 2018. We also offer another international event called Honors Institute. Tatiana, I don't know if you have attended an Honors Institute, but just very briefly, Honors Institute is a very small, intimate gathering of about 500 students, and about 500 of our members and advisors will convene at the campus of a four-year school and really focus on research and how to engage in scholarly research and prepare for what we call our Honors in Action project, which is really an honors project that focuses on a project of your choosing, where you can engage in research and then actually implement that. Tatiana, do you mind talking really quickly about maybe the Honors in Action project that your chapter completed, or your experience with an Honors Institute that you may have attended?
Okay, so I would like to add that I went to every convention that we could have done. I did Honors in Action. Honors Institute. I went to the Catalyst. I used to go I went when it was called Nerd Nation. And I also been to all the regional events in Florida. So I definitely feel like I've learned a little bit of everything in every convention. Not everyone is as lucky as me and can go to everything, but I really encourage it for you to go. A lot of people say that Honors Institute is one of their favorite conventions, and it's like she said, it was 500 students, and if you already have heard and pay attention, we have 1,300 chapters. So it gets very close, and when you get very close to each other, you're staying at the school, you're sharing a room, most likely with people that you still don't know, so you get to know all the members. There's amazing speakers that go, and then it's like you go to this big room, the speaker speaks, and then they separate you into different groups so you can talk about like what the speaker said. And it's kind of like doing the research for your Honors in Action project. Our Honors in Action project was about solar energy and energy sustainability. We did some research. We even spoke because this year, and I believe last year, it was a global perspective on Honors in Action, how the world works. And we interviewed somebody all the way to Arab. So we did a global perspective wise. It was awesome. It does take a while. So if you guys are an active member right now, I encourage you to, it's going to be turning into January. So good luck everybody with that. But some of them still started from like next year. As soon as you publish, start your research. Even if you're not going to be that officer that stays later on, it's good to start about new topics. And not only because for Honors in Action, but it's good for yourself to learn and have different perspective. I love the international convention. I'm a very extroverted person. There we had music. My first year, they had John Legend. It was amazing. I almost touched his hand. Mikio Kaku, which is one of my favorite speakers of all time. I read his books. And you get to know everybody. I have had the pleasure to have met our CEO of Phi Theta Kappa, Dr. Lin, and this was at the international level convention. So I really encourage everybody to go. It's amazing. And about the scholarships, I received a $5,000 scholarship through Phi Theta Kappa. So that was amazing also. And they have scholarships for everything. People that say that they don't have money to school, it's because they have not sat down and applied to scholarships. So there's always money for you. You just have to sit down, put the time, and apply for them.
Thank you so much, Tatiana. Quickly, I know it's 1 hour has passed, so I will wrap it up pretty quickly here. I do want to point out that we do offer letters of recommendation as another membership benefit. So if you are applying to a four-year school or your employer may request a letter of recommendation, you can actually request this from Phi Theta Kappa headquarters, and we will happily provide a letter of recommendation on your behalf to that person. Also, we partner with various companies like Geico and Bank of America, and we offer special benefits for our members that really add value to their college experience and help them with discounts, auto insurance discounts, and really sort of practical things that you need as a college student. So I also wanted to point that out. And then on the last slide here, you'll see my contact information. You can please reach out to me if you have any questions about any of the content here. Again, you can go ahead and check ptk.org/webinars. This webinar, the recording, will be posted there within the next couple of days. If you want to refer back to this or if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We are here to support you. And so we really hope you join. We really hope you become one of our scholars and leaders. And I really appreciate everyone's time. I do want to let Heather say any closing words. I know you've been monitoring the chat box and the Q&A box, but I'd like you to say some parting words for our guests here.
Yeah, thank you, Aariel. And I haven't been looking at the camera, so I apologize if anyone's watching and I'm sitting here looking at 3 different screens in front of me throughout the night. But we do offer, I was actually going to wrap up by answering a question. We have some great questions coming in at the last minute about scholarships and about regalia. So I do want to mention, since we didn't really get to talk too much about regalia, there is something called the Phi Theta Kappa store. So if you want to go to ptk.org/store, you're going to see all of the IMPTK items as well as our graduation regalia. If you can purchase your regalia at the time of joining, there's usually a package deal that's going to offer a discount, and so it would be cheaper to buy it when you're accepting your membership. Also, you can definitely talk to your chapter advisor about whether or not they have regalia available. Some chapters have really cool systems set up where you get to earn it, or you do fundraisers to earn the money to buy the regalia. So maybe check with your advisor first. And there are definitely scholarships at the master's level as well as the associate and bachelor's degree level. And those are all found at ptk.org/scholarships. So I don't think I have any more work to do as far as convincing you, because Tatiana has been absolutely amazing. So I just want to say thank you for your attention and for the great questions. I'm not just saying this, these are probably the best set of questions I've ever received in one of these webinars. So thank you.
Thank you, Heather. And Tatiana, if you have any closing words you'd like to say, now is your time. I'd love to give you the floor.
Thank you. I would definitely encourage you 125% to join Phi Theta Kappa if you have not joined by now. If you had another questions that it was not answered here, my email is tbowling1@ufl.edu. Like I said to somebody else before, I will be glad to answer any questions. And if I don't know the answer, I will glad to show you the path of that way. Like I said, Phi Theta Kappa has changed my life. I have a bigger family brought now. It helped me in every terms that I could. And like I said, what you put into it, what you get out of what you put into. So have a great night, everyone, and go Phi Theta Kappa.
Thank you so much. So we will sign off, everyone. We appreciate you joining us. And if we haven't answered your question, we will follow up with you. And we hope to welcome you soon to our community. So thanks for joining us.